let me show you what we got. I got the other control arm bracket welded on. Welded in the anti-roll bar. I already got it welded into the frame, or in between the frame. You want to make sure when you're welding it in the frame that, you know, these arms are still able to move. They're not binding up. So, you know, weld a little bit on this side, then go to the other side, weld on that side, and, you know, keep going back and forth till you got it completely welded, excuse me, because you don't want it to bind up from the warpage from the welding. Right now I got the tabs on this side welded. I'm gonna quickly spray a little paint on there where I ground down the rust so it doesn't rust again, and then we'll bolt that side on, and then I got to do the same over there. Them are just mocked up. I gotta tack them, then remove the link and weld them in. What you want to do is you want the axle at full droop, so have that all the way drooping all the way down, and then you want 4 threads showing on each end of this rod here. So go ahead and get 4 threads. This one isn't, so I gotta adjust this. Get 4 threads each side, line it up on the axle, grind the rust out of the way, and go ahead and tack them. And you'll make sure the rod's straight up and down. And once we get that welded in, we'll come back and talk about setup. Pretty simple. Let's see if I can get this to show. Yeah, it's better. You see the stick out on that side, and then if you look on this side, it might be hard to tell, but the axle's sticking out a little too far on the driver's side, so I need to bring the axle this way. To do that, whatever side you want to bring the axle, whatever way. So if you're bringing it to the passenger side, you want to shorten the upper control arm on the passenger side, and then lengthen the driver's side upper control arm the exact same amount. So if you go 3 flats on the passenger side, do 3 flats on the driver's side, in the opposite direction, and that'll shift the axle this way and not change your pinion angle. If you only adjust one, it'll shift the axle, but it's going to change the pinion angle. And on setup, to get the axle square rear steer wise, what I did is drop the plumb bob. Get yourself a plumb bob and put you some tape on the ground right underneath. Let's see if I can show you. I went right to these let's see if I can get it to focus on these. You can kind of see it. Oops, sorry guys. Right here where the factory had this chassis on a jig when they were building it. If nobody's jacked up on this and bent this all to hell, you can go right off the edge here, drop a plumb bob from there all the way down to the floor, and then put you some tape on the floor where the plumb bob hits. Mark where it's at. Do that on an exact spot on both sides. Okay, so you got a piece of tape with a mark on it on both sides. Then you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna measure the distance from this spot over to your other spot. Whatever that distance is, divide it by 2, and then measure that out from one of your spots. So say this is 50 inches from side to side. Half of that is 25 inches. So we'll measure from here, 25 inches to the middle, and that'll be our center of the chassis. That'll be the center of the vehicle. So go ahead and put your tape down and mark your, for example, 25 inches, and that's your center point. Then you're gonna come back and do the same back here on the axle. You can use the lower control arm bolt, or any of that stuff to, something that's fixed, and that's going to be the same on both sides. Drop you a plumb bob, do the same thing, make a mark, and then you're going to measure from your mark back here at the axle up to your center point. and write that measurement down. Then you're going to do the same on the other side, from that side to the middle center point, and you want them to be identical. If one's off, if you got 58 inches to that, and then this one over here is 57 inches, that means this tire's farther forward than the passenger side, so you're going to have rear steer because the axle's kind of cocked. So you want to adjust it, measure again until they're equal on both sides, and your axle's going to be straight. Pinion angle is another important thing when you're setting up the rear end. You got to have that right, otherwise you'll get vibration, and you don't want any of the things to come along with that. So get yourself a digital angle finder. Let's see if I can find. Yep, mine's right here. So get yourself one of these, okay? These are cheap on Amazon. You don't have to get digital, but digital's easier. They make old school ones that aren't digital, but you can get one of these for cheap. Pick one of these up, and then what you're going to do is you're going to go up to the crankshaft, or go to the front of the engine where your vibration dampener is, your crankshaft pulley, and get the angle. Here, let me grab that so I can demonstrate. Okay, so you got this, right? You got your crankshaft pulley straight up down. You're going to put this on the front of the pulley. It's going to give you a measurement, or it's going to give you a degree. You record that. Mine, on my engine, was 1.5 degrees facing down, okay? So I had 1.5 degrees negative. You write that down. Then you go to the output shaft of the transmission, and you do the same thing. You put this on there, and it's going to give you a reading. I believe, if I remember right, I had 1 degree. So I got a 1/2 degree, engine to transmission, which is okay. You want 0 to 1/2 degrees, about the most you want. So that was fine. Then I measured the drive shaft, put this on the bottom of the drive shaft, and it gave me a measurement. It was 1 degree as well. Negative. These are all negative, down slopes. And then I measured the pinion. If you got an 8/8 with a flange on the pinion, you have to take your drive shaft out and put this up against the flange, take your measurement, and it'll give you, a number. Mine was 0 exactly. So basically, I got 1 degree of pinion angle, which is exactly what I want for a vehicle that's got solid control arm connection points. If you got rubber bushings, 1.5 to 2, and if you got solid stuff, you want to right around 1, is what most people recommend. Do your research and see what you come up with, but I set mine at 1 degree, and so we're good there. I've got to make an adjustment, like I said, for the axle. Slide it to the passenger side a little more to get it equal on both sides. Then I'll double check my pinion angle again, and then we should be good to go. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna weld these 2 tabs on the passenger side in, and we will hook up the NR roll bar. I will jack up the rear end, simulating like it's at ride height. Suspension's loaded. It's going to be at the same position as it will be when it's sitting on the ground. I'll get some weight in the car that simulates my weight, 190, 195 pounds in the driver's seat. And then we'll make an adjustment on the bar. So I'm going to get that done. We'll come back and we'll cover the adjustment. There's a few different schools of thought, and then, adjustments on the anti-roll bar. I'm going to tell you how I am going to do it. It's not, necessarily the right or the wrong way to do it. You just pick which way sounds best to you and go with it. So I'm going to get this welded in, and then we'll come back and go over the adjustment. I also wanted to show this to you guys. Like I said in the last video, picked up a TIG welder. And I never TIG welded before the day I bought that. So I've been practicing. Steel is a lot easier to me. Aluminum, obviously I had struggled in the beginning, but I'm starting to get the hang of it. It's not perfect, but it's coming along. That's passable. That's a full penetration, no blow through. and it looks decent. You know, it doesn't look great, but it's decent. And then over here, I was just practicing on, you know, some edge welds that, you know, trying not to burn through, and I did, you know, good job on that one. So, but I got the rest of this piece to be able to practice on, so we'll continue doing that. You know, and keep getting better and better at it. So, anyways, I got this. Let's see here if I can get under here for you guys. Let's see. There you go. I got this side welded on. Do a quick coat of paint on it so it doesn't rust. And sitting at ride height right now, or where I've got the ride height set at. So I cycled it all the way. Them arms up there on the anti-roll bar are level and flat, which is where you want them to be. And then when I get a chance and I get another person I can get out here, I'll put, you know, 200 pounds sitting in a driver's seat, and then I will adjust this passenger side rod here to get a little preload on it. But so yeah, she's sitting at ride height right now where I've got it adjusted at. I think I can go another inch or so lower, tuck that tire up in there a little more. Don't want to go too low because I'm going to be going to 28, so I'll be losing a little bit of, you know, gap there, but worked pretty good. So that's where I'm going to call it tonight, guys. It's getting late, and had enough for tonight. So where we're at, basically adjust the suspension, get the axle squared up perfectly, recheck my pinion angle, make sure everything's good at my ride height, and adjust that anti-roll bar, and we're ready to go to the track. Basically, you know, the first trip to the track is going to be a lot of suspension adjustments. Hopefully it'll be pretty close, and we'll be able to you know, get a lot of runs in and not have to make a ton of adjustments on the suspension. But, you know, it is what it is when you change the whole setup in the rear. So but yeah, see, today's Wednesday, so the next deal, the next test and tune is going to be I guess it'd be a week from today, Wednesday, so Wednesday of next week. So I guess as long as the rain holds off and there isn't any in the forecast, we'll plan on going Wednesday. And yeah, see if we can get her in the 9s there at Milan. The best at Milan that we've done is a 1013 at 139.5 or 140 basically. So but that's the game plan, guys, so stick around. Look out for that video at the track, and if I end up doing any more stuff, you know, I'll get it on video before we go. But I appreciate you guys following, and we'll see you on the next one.